What's the pettiest thing a manager has done that backfired hard? My husband's job takes him to places so remote they barely show up on maps. He inspects industrial sites, pipelines, oil batteries, tanks, the kind of work that needs a serious truck. Mud, snow, off-road fields, you name it. His truck is fully equipped with tow ropes, shovels, and everything he needs to get out of trouble. In his department, there are 6 people who travel most of the year. Only their team does this kind of field work, and the rest of the company sits comfortably in the office. 2 of the senior techs used company trucks that came with paid parking spots downtown, while others like my husband used their own vehicles and claimed mileage. It was a fair system. Everyone knew who got what and why. When the fleet trucks were out of town, their parking spots were up for grabs. No drama. My husband, being the manager, had his own parking spot too. It wasn't free, he was taxed on it, but it was convenient. And since we carpooled, I often parked there while he was away. Apparently, that made some people jealous. A few co-workers started whispering that his team was getting free perks. The complaints eventually reached Kevin, the finance director. Kevin had a reputation for micromanaging everything he didn't understand. He didn't oversee my husband's department, but that didn't stop him from getting involved. One day, he called my husband into his office and announced that the field trucks were too expensive and unnecessary. His grand solution: replace the trucks with 3 Jeep Liberties. Now, anyone who's ever driven a Jeep Liberty in deep mud knows what kind of disaster that is, but Kevin was convinced it would save money. He told my husband to stop using his own truck and start using the Jeep when needed. He also said he'd be taking over the scheduling of all 3 vehicles himself because, as he put it, people have been talking. My husband could see where this was going. Kevin clearly thought the team was abusing company property and that we were double parking downtown. He probably assumed we were each driving separate cars and hogging spaces. Still, my husband played along. He told his old boss, who'd been using one of the spare parking spots, that Kevin wanted it back. His boss understood immediately. Within a few weeks, Kevin proudly rolled out his new fleet of 3 Jeep Liberties. They were parked in their shiny assigned spots downtown. My husband went back to using his own truck and parking in his manager's spot like always. It took less than a month for the first problem to hit. Someone smashed a window out of one of the Jeeps. Kevin panicked and called my husband to handle it. My husband politely reminded him that since Kevin had taken over scheduling, he'd have to figure out when the vehicle could go in for repairs. Oh, and by the way, the second Jeep needed an oil change. It had already hit 5,000 miles because his team traveled constantly. Kevin couldn't believe it. He thought the vehicles were barely being used. Within a few weeks, the scheduling became a nightmare. He double-booked cars, misplaced keys, and once even had to tell an executive director that there were no vehicles available for an important meeting because he'd given them all out. The final straw came when my husband needed keys at 7 in the morning to get to a court inspection on time. Kevin wasn't there, of course. That created such a mess that upper management told Kevin he had to personally be available in the early morning whenever the vehicles were needed. So there he was, showing up at 5 a.m. on Mondays to hand out keys like a valet. It didn't take long for reality to sink in. The Jeeps couldn't handle field conditions. They got stuck in mud, burned through gas, and racked up towing and repair bills like crazy. The staff hated using them, and Kevin was drowning in logistics he didn't understand. After about 6 weeks, the 3 vehicles were quietly reassigned to senior staff, basically undoing everything Kevin had done. My husband went back to driving his own truck. The Jeeps, though, kept causing trouble. 2 years later, after endless repair costs and bad mileage reports, the company finally replaced them with brand new trucks, the same kind they'd had before. Kevin also gave up control of the parking spots. The extra one that had caused all the jealousy went right back into my husband's department, exactly where it had been in the first place. All told, Kevin's attempt to fix something that wasn't broken cost the company over $100,000 in fuel, repairs, and lost time. And just like that, nobody ever brought up those parking spots again.